In NBA history, there have only been a handful of father-son duos to both make it to the NBA, and even fewer actually succeed. We've seen it all from the son eventually surpassing their father's NBA career, like Steph Curry, to the complete opposite, where the son has to forever live in the shadow of their all-time great dad, like the sons of Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, and Shaquille O'Neal, just to name a few. Accomplishing such a feat is rare. It's even rarer for both father and son to both dominate in their respective eras. But the NBA has never seen a father and son duo suit up for the same team in the same season. That's why everyone has been waiting on Bronny James to play alongside his father, LeBron James. As LeBron has publicly stated numerous times that the only thing left in his Hall of Fame career is to suit up with his oldest son, LeBron James Jr. But is Bronny James even good enough to be drafted without his father's help? Or is it a case of some serious nepotism? Just a few months ago, Bronny was projected to be a late first-round pick, but recently almost all official 2024 mock drafts don't even mention him in the top 60 at all. His collegiate career so far has been nothing short of underwhelming, as he's averaging below 6 points a game at USC, which isn't even a good team. It's not like a top school like Duke or Kentucky where there is just so much talent and offensive weapons that even 5-star recruits are minimized to role players. He's been given multiple opportunities to prove himself and always fell short of stepping up to the challenge. Regardless of his skill set as a player, it's likely Bronny will still make it to the NBA, either as a second-rounder or an undrafted player. The headlines and massive media attention of the first father-son duo in the NBA will bring massive profits and relevancy to whichever team drafts him, but just for one season. For some teams, just one season of LeBron playing alongside Bronny could be very beneficial. But after LeBron eventually retires, what would you do with Bronny James? It's likely that he wouldn't even make it to his second contract because he wouldn't have truly earned the draft pick that would have been used to acquire him. But why is the perspective all of the sudden negative? Throughout his whole life, he has garnered massive amounts of hype. Most of it obviously came from being the son of an all-time great, but he was and is still a good player. But is he good enough to make it to the NBA on his own? The short answer, definitely not. To understand the downfall of Bronny James and why teams are hesitant to waste a draft pick on such a mediocre player, we have to rewind all the way back until the very beginning. LeBron James Jr. was born in Cleveland, Ohio to LeBron and Savannah James. When you're the son of the chosen one, it's obvious that you're going to grow up with some sort of spotlight, and it definitely doesn't help that your name is LeBron James Jr., as his father has publicly stated that he regrets naming his firstborn son after him for that very reason. Regardless of the media attention, Bronny James made the best of having LeBron's genes, as he excelled in every sport, at least the one that he was allowed to play, as his dad never let him play football or ice hockey due to increased injury risk. Aside from being LeBron's son, he was always in the spotlight for his basketball highlights, as scouts could see the potential in Bronny, so much so that he was getting college offers from Duke and Kentucky at just 11 years old. Whether you think that's right or not, it's clear that it was a combination of Bronny's potential and scouts wanting to be first in line in acquiring LeBron James' son to their school, as it would bring massive viewership and revenue even if it meant waiting a couple years until he was eligible for college. As the son of an NBA player, you tend to move around a lot, and when LeBron famously took his talents to South Beach, Bronny took his talents to the Miami City Ballers. Then Old Trail School when his dad went back to Cleveland, and in 2018, when LeGM traded himself to the Lakers, Bronny played for Crossroads School, a private school in Santa Monica, where he continued to refine his game and finished his middle school and late teen years. As Bronny went on to play at the high school level, his hype went through the roof. As the media closely followed all his games and development, it all blew out of proportion after LeBron stated that he wanted to take the court with his oldest son. As soon as that was announced, it wasn't seen as if Bronny would eventually get drafted, but a matter of when. But is that even healthy? I know it's a touching story for a dad to want to play with his son, but when your dad is LeBron James, that can add a tremendous amount of pressure to someone who isn't mature enough to handle it. Regardless, Bronny continued to put his head down and just grind, as he continued to work to improve his game all throughout his high school career. Although he showed great promise, especially as an on-ball and perimeter defender, Bronny James was never able to surpass being a 4-star recruit, which is an incredible achievement for any player, but when you've had massive expectations placed on you your whole life, 4 stars is a bit of a letdown. And with all the great talent and competition there is in professional basketball, 4 stars does not make you an elite prospect. Most recruits at that level don't receive much interest from the top schools in the country and aren't typically considered to be one-and-done players after their freshman season. Although the narrative surrounding Bronny is typically negative nowadays, I have to give him credit for his perimeter and on-ball defensive prowess, as well as his off-ball shooting, at least in high school. And, after all, he is the son of LeBron James, so he's definitely got a high basketball IQ, he knows his spots, and isn't a selfish player. His main problem is his ball handling, which leads to an extremely high turnover rate. And it's gotten more exposed in college, where his offense and shooting has taken a heavy dip due to the higher level of competition. And it's been obvious that he clearly struggled creating his own shot and driving to the paint. You also have to keep play time. Bronny is averaging 5.8 points, 35% from the floor, a measly 27% from 3, and a mediocre 67% from the free throw line. Keep in mind that college stats and efficiency don't directly transfer to the NBA, but even by college player standards, this is well below average, and having bad stats on a bad team doesn't help either. It's time to face the unfortunate truth that he is just not good enough to make a significant impact on a Division I team. And if he can't prove himself on a bad college team, as NBA fans, how can you possibly justify his deservingness of being on an NBA team? Not to mention that this is a weak draft class. Up until now, he has always been considered an early second to late first-round draft pick. But now it's tough to find his name on any official mock draft list. Bronny James has had many chances to shine and has had arguably an easy path to becoming a suitable prospect for the NBA draft until now. Because there's something that has not yet been mentioned that is a huge deal to the draft stock of Bronny James, and it has nothing to do with his game. On July 24, 2023, Bronny James would suffer from cardiac arrest during a USC practice. Luckily, he was in an environment where medical staff quickly came in and saved his life. He was hospitalized for 3 days and underwent a procedure to treat a congenital heart defect. Now that's some serious stuff to be going through at just 19 years old. Not only does having a heart problem at such a young age affect his confidence, but his game as well. It clearly affects his stamina and playing time. And while it's clearly not his fault, it's unfortunately another reason for teams to be hesitant to draft a player with some serious health concerns, as congenital heart defects can't fully be cured and it can lead to other health issues down the line, especially for a high-performing athlete. With all the doubts about his health, his overall play style, turnovers, lack of dominance in his college career, and clear doubt about where he's even good enough to play in the NBA, we cannot forget that, after all, he is still LeBron James' son, therefore he plays by different rules. And even though I'd say that he is clearly not deserving based on his over-game alone of a roster spot on an NBA team, it's likely that he will still get drafted purely for the financial incentive that whatever team acquires him will receive an astronomical amount of media coverage and revenue. After all, this has never happened, and it could potentially be in the NBA's best interest to do whatever they can to increase the attention the NBA gets, especially before their new media rights deal is finalized, even if it means robbing a more deserving player of their dream to play in the NBA. And wherever Bronny gets drafted, that's where LeBron will go. The question is, what team will actually draft him? Will the Lakers acquire him to keep LeBron in LA and run it back one more time for a championship run? Or will a smaller market team be blinded by the revenue and take a chance on Bronny? And finally, I want to know, what do you think? Does Bronny deserve to play in the NBA? Or has nepotism affected the game we all love? If you like my content, subscribe for weekly videos like this, and check out my video on Jaime Jaquez Jr. to see what a really deserving college player looks like.